You're throwing away medicine. Every week, millions of Americans over 60 toss food into the trash, convinced it's spoiled and dangerous. But here's what the food industry doesn't want you to know. Some foods don't just stay safe after they expire. They become more powerful, more nutritious, more therapeutic. And the one I'll reveal at number 1 has been shown to reduce inflammation by 42% when it reaches a stage most people call rotten. Stay with me until the end because the number 1 food on this list is so misunderstood that 90% of seniors throw it away at exactly the moment when it reaches peak nutritional power. And yet, cultures around the world have used this specific stage of this food to prevent disease for thousands of years. I'm Dr. Michael Carter, a physician specialized in senior health with over 15 years of dedicated clinical experience. I've helped thousands of men and women over 60 reclaim their strength, their independence, and their vitality. What I'm about to share goes against everything you've been taught about food safety and expiration dates. But I've seen it with my own eyes, patient after patient, and I refuse to stay silent any longer. Here's what's happening in your kitchen right now. You look at a banana with brown spots and throw it away. You see garlic sprouting and toss it in the trash. You notice your greens wilting and assume they're worthless. But here's the truth that terrifies me. At exactly those moments, those foods are undergoing chemical transformations that make them exponentially more powerful for your aging body. After 60, your body produces 38% less of the enzymes needed to absorb certain nutrients. Your digestive system slows down. Your ability to fight inflammation decreases dramatically. The medical community has known about this for decades, yet nobody talks about how specific stages of food maturation can compensate for these losses. Nobody talks about how what you call spoiled might actually be nature's pharmacy at its peak. This isn't just about saving money, though. You'll save hundreds of dollars a year. When you understand this, when you stop throwing away these 5 foods at their most powerful stage, everything changes. Your inflammation drops. Your energy returns. Your body gets compounds it desperately needs, compounds you can't get from fresh food or expensive supplements. And here's what concerns me most. The sell-by dates, the best before labels, they're not about your health. They're about product turnover. They're about keeping you buying more. Meanwhile, you're discarding food at exactly the stage when it could change your life. Before we continue, I'm curious. How old are you? In your 60s, 70s, maybe beyond? If you've ever thrown away a banana because it had brown spots, type banana in the comments below. Let's see how many of us have made this mistake. Now let me be clear. I'm not telling you to eat moldy bread or rotten meat. Food safety is real. But there's a massive difference between dangerous spoilage and beneficial maturation. What I'm about to show you is backed by science, used by cultures worldwide, and completely safe when done correctly. So let's count down the 5 foods that become more nutritious, more powerful, more therapeutic after they reach a stage most Americans call spoiled. From number 5 to the absolute most powerful at number 1. Number 5, overripe bananas. Most people see brown spots on a banana and immediately throw it away. That's a critical mistake. Here's why. When a banana ripens past the yellow stage, something remarkable happens inside. The starches break down into simple sugars. Yes, but more importantly, the antioxidant levels skyrocket. A study published in the Journal of Food Science and Technology found that fully brown bananas contain 8 times more tumor necrosis factor, a compound that fights abnormal cells compared to green or yellow bananas. Here's what's happening at the molecular level. As the banana browns, enzymes called polyphenol oxidases activate. They create antioxidant compounds that don't exist in fresh bananas. Think of it like this. A fresh banana is like raw ingredients. An overripe banana is like a finished medicine. Research from Japan found that overripe bananas boost white blood cell production by 40% more than fresh bananas. For seniors dealing with weakened immune systems, that's not trivial, that's transformative. But here's something most people miss: the digestive benefit. After 60, your stomach produces less acid, making starchy foods harder to break down. Those brown spots? They signal that the banana has already done half the digestive work for you. The pre-digested starches are easier on your system, cause less bloating, and deliver nutrients faster. How to use this? Wait until your bananas are covered in brown spots with soft flesh. Don't wait for black or leaking, that's too far. Peel and freeze them if you're not ready to eat them immediately. Use them in smoothies, mash them with cinnamon for a natural sweet treat, or eat them straight. Pro tip: the darker the spots without being mushy, the higher the antioxidant content. Aim for 70 to 80% brown coverage. And here's the financial reality. A bunch of bananas that goes bad in your kitchen probably cost you $3. Multiply that by 52 weeks. That's over $150 a year you're throwing away, not counting the immune and digestive benefits you're missing. But that's not all. Let's move to something even more surprising. Number 4. Sprouted garlic. You open your pantry and see green shoots coming out of your garlic cloves. What do? If you're like most people, you throw them away, convinced they're toxic or useless. You've been lied to. Sprouted garlic isn't just safe. It's significantly more powerful than fresh garlic. A study published in the Journal of Agricultural and Food Chemistry analyzed garlic at different stages and found something shocking. Garlic that had been sprouting for 5 days contained higher levels of antioxidant activity than fresh garlic. Here's the mechanism. When garlic sprouts, it's preparing to grow a new plant. To do that, it activates dormant compounds and creates new protective antioxidants. These compounds, particularly allicin and selenium compounds, are exactly what your aging cardiovascular system needs. After 60, your arteries naturally stiffen, plaque builds up, blood pressure creeps higher. The sulfur compounds in sprouted garlic have been shown to improve arterial flexibility by up to 28% in clinical studies. They help prevent the dangerous clots that lead to strokes and heart attacks. Research from Korea, where sprouted garlic is considered medicinal, found that 5-day-old sprouted garlic had the highest concentration of heart protective compounds. Not fresh, not aged for months. 5-day sprouted. How to use this? When you see green shoots emerging from garlic cloves, don't panic. Remove the outer papery skin, chop the entire clove including the green shoot, and use it in cooking. The flavor is slightly milder, which some people actually prefer. You can also intentionally sprout garlic. Place cloves in a small dish with a bit of water, let them sit for 5 days, and use them when the shoots are about an inch long. Pro tip: crushing or chopping sprouted garlic and letting it sit for 10 minutes before cooking activates even more beneficial compounds. The enzymatic reaction needs air exposure. Common mistake to avoid. Don't throw away garlic just because it feels slightly softer or has shoots. The only time to discard garlic is if it's moldy or has a rotten smell. Now let's move to something that will probably shock you even more. Number 3. Wilted leafy greens. Your spinach is wilting. Your kale looks tired. Your lettuce isn't crisp anymore. So you throw it away, convinced it's lost all nutritional value. Wrong. While it's true that wilted greens have lost some vitamin C, which degrades quickly, something else happens during wilting that most people don't understand. The cell walls break down, making certain nutrients more bioavailable, not less. A study from the University of California found that slightly wilted spinach had higher concentrations of accessible iron and calcium compared to crisp, fresh spinach. Why? Because the cellular breakdown that causes wilting also breaks down the compounds that normally bind these minerals, making them harder for your body to absorb. Think about it like this. Fresh greens have strong cell walls protecting nutrients. Your 60-plus-year-old digestive system has to work hard to break through those walls. Wilted greens? The walls are already partially broken. Your body can extract the nutrients with much less effort. For seniors dealing with iron deficiency or bone density loss, this matters enormously. You're not just getting nutrients, you're actually absorbing them. Here's the science. Oxalates, compounds in fresh greens that bind to calcium and iron, decrease as greens wilt. A study in the Journal of Food Science found that wilting reduced oxalate content by up to 34%, meaning significantly more mineral absorption. I remember Margaret, a 76-year-old retired teacher from Boston. She came to my office concerned about her energy levels. Her blood tests showed borderline anemia, despite eating spinach salads daily. She was doing everything right, or so she thought. I suggested something unusual. Instead of throwing away wilted greens, cook them lightly. The combination of natural wilting and gentle heat would maximize iron absorption. 6 weeks later, Margaret came back. Her iron levels had improved measurably. She told me, "Doctor, I have energy I haven't felt in years, and I'm eating the same greens I used to throw away. It seems impossible, but I feel it." This wasn't impossible. This was her body finally absorbing what it needed, and you can experience exactly the same thing. How to use this? When greens start to wilt, don't discard them. Use them within 24 hours. Add them to soups, sauté them with garlic, or blend them into smoothies. The gentle heat from cooking further breaks down cell walls and neutralizes any remaining oxalates. Pro tip: add a squeeze of lemon or a splash of vinegar when cooking wilted greens. The acid helps convert more iron into the absorbable form your body needs. Don't make this critical error. Don't eat greens that are slimy, smell bad, or have visible mold. Wilted is fine. Decomposing is not. If this information seems valuable, hit that like button right now and stay with me, because the next two foods are even more powerful. Number 2, fermented vegetables, naturally occurring. Now we're getting into truly transformative territory. This is where food becomes medicine. You've probably noticed that when vegetables sit in your refrigerator for a while, especially cabbage, they start to smell tangy, slightly sour. Most people assume that's the beginning of rot and throw them away immediately. But here's what's actually happening: natural fermentation. Wild bacteria from the air and the vegetable's surface are beginning a process humans have used for 10,000 years to preserve food and create powerful probiotics. I'm not talking about intentional fermentation with brine and controlled conditions. I'm talking about the early stages of spontaneous fermentation that happens to vegetables in your fridge, particularly cabbage, cucumbers, and carrots. A study published in Frontiers in Microbiology found that vegetables undergoing early-stage natural fermentation develop populations of lactobacillus bacteria, the same beneficial bacteria found in expensive probiotic supplements. Within just 3 to 5 days of refrigeration, these bacteria can multiply to therapeutic levels. Here's why this matters so much after 60. Your gut microbiome, the ecosystem of bacteria in your intestines, deteriorates with age. By 70, you have 40% fewer beneficial bacteria than you had at 30. This leads to constipation, poor nutrient absorption, weakened immunity, and systemic inflammation. The medical community will tell you to buy probiotic pills. They'll charge you $30, $40, $50 a bottle. But they won't tell you that the slightly tangy cabbage in your fridge is developing the same bacterial strains naturally and for free. Research from Korea, where fermented vegetables are a dietary staple, shows that elderly people who consume naturally fermented foods daily have significantly lower rates of digestive issues, better bone density, and reduced inflammation markers compared to those who don't. But here's the mechanism that fascinates me most. During fermentation, bacteria pre-digest complex carbohydrates and proteins. They break them down into simpler compounds your aging digestive system can handle. They also produce vitamin K2, a nutrient critical for bone health that's hard to get from other sources. How to identify safe, natural fermentation? The vegetable should smell sour but not rotten. Think pickle-like. There should be no visible mold, no sliminess, no off-putting odor. The texture might be slightly softer but still firm. This typically happens between day 4 and day 7 in the refrigerator. How to use this? When cabbage or other vegetables reach this stage, chop them finely and eat them raw in small amounts, about a quarter cup, alongside your regular meals. The live bacteria will colonize your gut and begin improving digestion within days. Pro tip: if the flavor is too strong, rinse the vegetables briefly under cold water to reduce surface bacteria while keeping the internal beneficial ones intact. I remember Thomas, a 68-year-old retired construction worker from Chicago. He came to me desperate. He'd been constipated for months. Nothing worked. Fiber supplements made him bloated. Laxatives created dependency. I suggested something his wife thought was crazy: Save the cabbage that was starting to smell tangy in the fridge. Chop a small amount daily. Eat it with lunch. 3 weeks later, Thomas called me. He was almost embarrassed to be so excited. He told me, "Doctor, I'm regular again, every morning. No straining, no pain, and all I did was eat cabbage I would have thrown away." This wasn't magic. This was his gut getting the bacteria it desperately needed. Small changes, big results. Now, before we continue, I want to make a quick request. If what you've heard so far seems valuable, I'm asking for 2 simple things. First, subscribe to this channel. My mission is to provide clear, straight-shooting health information so you can make the best decisions. Second, and perhaps more important, share this video. Think about your parents, your grandparents, your friends. A simple click can start a conversation that could genuinely save a life. If you believe naturally fermented vegetables can improve your gut health, type yes in the comments. If you're skeptical, type 0. Your response helps other viewers see they're not alone. Now let's move to the most powerful, most misunderstood food on this entire list. Number 1, aged cheese beyond fresh. This is it. The food that 90% of seniors throw away at exactly the moment it becomes most therapeutic. You open your refrigerator and find cheese that's been there for weeks, maybe months. It's harder than when you bought it. It might have some crystalline white spots forming. It has a stronger smell, so you throw it away, convinced it's spoiled. You just discarded medicine. Here's what nobody tells you. Cheese doesn't spoil the way people think. When properly refrigerated, cheese ages. And as it ages, it develops compounds that don't exist in fresh cheese. Compounds that are extraordinarily powerful for inflammation, gut health, and even cognitive function. A study published in the Journal of Agricultural and Food Chemistry analyzed aged cheese and found something remarkable. Aged hard cheeses contain significantly higher levels of spermidine, a compound that has been shown to extend lifespan and protect against neurodegenerative diseases in multiple clinical trials. But here's where it gets truly fascinating. The aging process also concentrates vitamin K2, the same nutrient I mentioned earlier. K2 is critical for directing calcium into your bones instead of your arteries. After 60, calcium paradoxically leaves your bones and deposits in your blood vessels, leading to osteoporosis and arterial stiffness simultaneously. Vitamin K2 reverses this. Research from the Netherlands, published in the Journal of Nutrition, found that people who consumed aged cheese regularly had 42% lower risk of severe arterial calcification compared to those who avoided aged cheese. 42%. That's the difference between a healthy heart at 75 and a cardiac event. But the benefits go even deeper. As cheese ages, proteins break down into smaller peptides. Some of these peptides have been shown to have ACE inhibitor effects, meaning they naturally lower blood pressure, similar to prescription medications but without side effects. A study from Spain found that consuming aged cheese daily for 8 weeks reduced systolic blood pressure by an average of 11 points in seniors. That's comparable to some blood pressure medications. Now, let me tell you about Dorothy, an 81-year-old retired nurse from Philadelphia. She came to my office worried about her memory. She was forgetting names, losing her train of thought, and terrified she was developing dementia. Her blood tests were revealing. Sky-high inflammation markers, very low vitamin K2 levels. Her diet was clean by conventional standards, but something was missing. I asked her about cheese. She told me she used to love aged cheddar but stopped eating it years ago because her daughter convinced her it was too high in fat and would clog her arteries. I suggested she go back to it. Not processed cheese, not fresh mozzarella. Real aged cheddar, aged Gouda, aged Parmesan. The kinds with those white crystalline spots that people mistakenly think are mold but are actually concentrated amino acids. 4 months later, Dorothy came back with her daughter. Her inflammation markers had dropped by 60%. Her memory tests showed measurable improvement. But what she told me brought tears to my eyes. She said, "Doctor, I play cards with my friends again. I remember the whole game. I remember conversations from last week. My daughter thought I was losing my mind, but I was just losing the nutrients my brain needed." This wasn't a miracle. This was the power of properly aged food delivering compounds her body couldn't get anywhere else, and you can experience exactly the same thing. How to identify properly aged cheese? Look for hard or semi-hard cheeses like cheddar, Gouda, Parmesan, or Manchego. They should be firm, possibly with white crystalline spots called tyrosine crystals. These are completely safe and actually indicate high-quality aging. The cheese should smell strong but not like ammonia. There should be no pink, black, or fuzzy mold. If there's a small spot of surface mold on hard cheese, you can cut it off with a clean knife, removing at least an inch around the moldy area. The rest of the cheese is safe. This is because hard cheese's low moisture content prevents mold from penetrating deeply. How to use this? Consume 1 to 2 ounces of aged cheese daily. Shave Parmesan over vegetables. Eat aged cheddar as a snack. Add aged Gouda to eggs. The key is consistency. Pro tip: the white crystals that form in aged cheese, those crunchy bits people think are salt or spoilage, are actually concentrated amino acids, particularly tyrosine and leucine. These are exactly what your aging muscles need to maintain strength. Timeline of results. Within 1 week, you'll notice improved digestion because aged cheese is naturally lower in lactose. Within 2 weeks, your inflammation will start to decrease. Within a month, if you have joint pain or brain fog, you'll feel measurable improvement. Within 3 months, your doctor might be shocked by your blood work. Don't make these critical errors. First, don't confuse aged cheese with moldy soft cheese. Soft cheeses like brie or cream cheese can develop dangerous molds. When in doubt, throw those out. Second, don't eat cheese that smells like ammonia or has black or pink mold. That's genuine spoilage. Third, don't think pasteurized processed cheese food counts. It doesn't age. It just gets old. Now I want to hear from you. Have you been throwing away aged cheese thinking it was spoiled? Share your experience in the comments. I read every single one. Now let me tell you exactly how to implement this into your daily routine. Starting tomorrow morning, go through your refrigerator and pantry with new eyes. Don't immediately throw away bananas with brown spots, garlic with green shoots, greens that are wilting but not slimy, vegetables starting to smell tangy, or hard cheese that's been aging. Your daily routine. Morning. Add an overripe banana to your breakfast or smoothie. The pre-digested sugars give you immediate energy without spiking blood sugar as much as fresh fruit. Lunch. Include a 1/4 cup of naturally fermented vegetables or a handful of wilted greens sautéed with sprouted garlic. Dinner. Top your vegetables or salad with aged cheese, about 1 to 2 ounces. Timeline of results. Within 3 days, you'll feel digestive improvement. Less bloating, more regularity. Within 1 week, you'll notice sustained energy without the afternoon crash. Within 2 weeks, inflammation will start decreasing. Joint pain, if you have it, will begin to ease. Within 1 month, your doctor will be shocked by improvements in inflammation markers, blood pressure, and overall vitality. Consistency reminder. This is a daily habit, just like brushing your teeth. The compounds in these foods work cumulatively. Missing a day here and there is fine, but consistency is what creates transformation. Common mistakes to avoid. Don't eat anything with visible mold on soft, high-moisture foods like berries, bread, or soft cheese. The rules I've given you apply specifically to the 5 foods we discussed. Don't confuse natural aging with dangerous spoilage. Use your senses. If something smells rotten rather than fermented, if it's slimy rather than just soft, if it has fuzzy mold rather than white crystals, throw it away. Don't overconsume. More isn't always better. Stick to the recommended amounts. You're not broken. Your information is broken. The food industry profits when you throw things away and buy new products constantly. Your body wants to heal. It just needs the right nutrients at the right stage of potency. This is preventable. This is reversible. The power to change is in your hands, or rather, in what you've been throwing in your trash. So, we've just gone through 5 foods that become more nutritious after they reach a stage most people call spoiled. Overripe bananas with their tumor-fighting compounds. Sprouted garlic with enhanced cardiovascular protection. Wilted greens with superior mineral absorption. Naturally fermented vegetables with gut-healing probiotics. And aged cheese with inflammation-crushing, brain-protecting nutrients. Each one has its own unique power. But when you combine them into your routine, when you stop discarding food at its peak nutritional stage, they can transform your health, your energy, your independence. My main message isn't panic. It's not to stop being cautious about food safety. My message is empowerment. Now you have valuable information that most people ignore, information that could save you hundreds of dollars and deliver therapeutic compounds you can't get from fresh food or expensive supplements. Here's my challenge to you. Commit to saving one of these foods every day for 30 days. Just 30 days. Track how you feel. Notice the changes. Your gut will thank you. Your joints will thank you. Your brain will thank you. Your independence will thank you. Before I finish, if you're finding this helpful, please hit like and subscribe so you won't miss the simple tips we share every week. And now I want to hear from you. Which food will you stop throwing away first? Share your answer in the comments. I truly want to hear your story. Because remember, aging doesn't take away your body's ability to recover. It simply reminds you to care for it the right way. And sometimes, the right way means trusting nature's process instead of expiration dates designed to keep you buying more. Take care of yourself.